Hey everyone, this is Math Done Right, and today we're going to be looking at the difference quotient. Now, I'm sure some of you have seen this before. It's usually just given by this formula, f of x plus h minus f of x all divided by h. All right, that's the formula for the difference quotient. Now, before I do a few examples, I'm going to explain what this is actually saying. So let's say I have the graph of a function, and let's say it looks something like this. Let's say it keeps on going on to infinity, like this. Okay, well, let's take an x value. Let's say x is right here. And then let's look at x plus h, where h is this distance right here. So let me do that in another color. So this distance right here is h. Okay, now what I'm really doing with the difference quotient is going up to my graph. This is f of x on the graph, and right here is f of x plus h. Now, if I were to find the slope between those 2 points, it would be the slope of this line right here that goes through those points. I did it a little poorly, but you get the idea. Like that. So this difference quotient gives you this slope right here, and that should make sense, right? Because my y value, right, it's y2, so m is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's the formula for the slope. Well, my y2 is f of x plus h. My y1 is f of x. And now my x2 is what's inside this parentheses, so it's x plus h. And then minus x1 is just x. Okay, well now these x's cancel each other out, and what am I left with is the difference quotient. So what the difference quotient is really saying, it's the slope between 2 points with any distance h being added to your original x value. And this idea is super important when you get to calculus, because eventually you're going to make this h value really small, and then that's going to give you what's called the instantaneous rate of change, or the derivative, and that's a video for another day, but let's look at some examples. Okay, so let's start with a nice and easy example really quick. So let's look at the function f of x equals x plus 2. Now first I'm going to just write down what the formula for the difference quotient is. So we have f of x plus h minus f of x divided by h. Okay, so I already have one piece of the puzzle, f of x, so that's done. Now for the difference quotient, I just throw in h in the denominator, so I don't really need to solve for anything. So really the only work I have to do is find f of x plus h. So off to the side, I'm going to do that over here. I'm going to call this my little thought box. Okay, so let's find f of x plus h. Now this is my function, f of x equals x plus 2. So f of x plus h, what I'm going to do is replace, whoops, I made a little mark there. I'm going to replace this x here with x plus h. So instead of x, it's going to be x plus h, and then I add 2. So this is going to be my f of x plus h. So now I go down to my equation and I just fill everything in. So f of x plus h is x plus h plus 2. I'm going to highlight that with blue. So this is f of x plus h. Now I need to subtract f of x. So I put that in parentheses because if there's more than one term here, I have to make sure I distribute this negative in here. And that's going to be underlined in pink. And then I just divide everything by h. And that h just comes from the formula. Okay, well now I have this negative sign here, so I have to distribute that inside. And that's going to give me x plus h plus 2 minus x minus 2, all divided by h. Now with the difference quotient, you're going to end up canceling out both of these terms over here. And if you don't get that to happen, you know that something went wrong. So we can see that this x cancels out with this x, and this 2 cancels out with this minus 2, right? X minus x, 2 minus 2. So now I go down to my next line and I rewrite what I'm left with. Well, the only thing I have left is this h up here and this h on the bottom. So now I go down to the last step and I have h divided by h. Now anything divided by itself is just 1. And that's my answer. So for this problem, my difference quotient is equal to 1. Alright, so that was the first example, and it was a little bit easy. Let's kick it up a notch. So let's say f of x is x squared plus, let's do 2x and a minus 1. Whatever, we're going to get a little crazy right now. Hopefully I have enough room to do this one. Okay, so again, I start by writing the formula, and I'm going to try to write a little bit smaller so that I can make sure everything fits. So this is the formula for the difference quotient. And again, right, f of x is already provided because I have to have a function to do the difference quotient. So this piece is already done. At the end, I just kind of throw in this h. So what I really need to do is solve for f of x plus h. So again, I'm going to go to my thought box. And hopefully I can fit it inside of here. If not, I'll make some changes. So let's find f of x plus h. Okay, so again, I have a function. So wherever I see an x, I replace it with x plus h. Now, so in the parentheses, I'm going to have x plus h squared plus 2 times x plus h minus 1. All I did was, wherever there is an x, I replaced it with x plus h. And you have to make sure you put that in parentheses, otherwise it's not going to turn out right. Okay, that was the bell for the school I'm at right now. Okay, so let's keep on going. So now I need to find out what x plus h squared is first. So I'm actually going to do that in pink really quick, and then I'll go back and write it into my equation. So we need to do x plus h squared. Well, I know that's equal to x plus h times x plus h, and we can see that we have to FOIL this now. So what we need to do is do x times x, which is going to be x squared, x times h, which is plus xh, h times x, which is the same thing as x times h, so I'm going to write that here, kind of skip that step a little bit, and then h times h is plus h squared. Now I can combine these two in the middle to give me a 2xh plus h squared. That's an x here. Okay, I'm trying to squeeze everything in so I have enough room. Now, so that was just this computation here, x plus h squared. So now I'm going to continue this down here. So this is equal to x plus h squared, so this guy right here. So x, ooh, that was bad. It's equal to x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. That's the first piece, this piece right here. Now I need to distribute this 2 inside of here. So I'm going to get plus 2x plus 2h minus 1. Okay, so this is f of x plus h right here. Now I'm going to go to my difference quotient, plug everything in, and solve. So let's do some colors again. So let's have this piece in blue. That doesn't show up very well. Let's do this piece in pink. we'll do f of x in this kind of burgundy color. All right. So f of x plus h is everything that's right here, so I'm just going to copy it. So we have x squared plus 2xh plus h squared plus 2x plus 2h minus 1. And I'm going to underline this in pink because that's f of x plus h. Now, I need to subtract f of x, which is right here. So put that in parentheses because I have to make sure I distribute. And then I divide everything by h. And this was in burgundy, so I'm going to underline that piece. Okay, so if I distribute this minus sign in here, boom, 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 I'm going to kind of skip this step because I'm running out of room. So I would get x squared minus x squared. So the x squared is going to cancel each other out. These are gone. I'm going to get plus 2x minus 2x. So these are gone. Then I'm going to get minus 1 minus negative 1. So minus 1 plus 1. These cancel each other out. And notice how this whole piece is gone, like I said before. So what I'm really left with is 2xh plus h squared plus 2h all over h. Okay, so let's go to the next line. So I'm going to get 2xh plus h squared plus 2h all divided by h. Now, when I have a fraction like this, I take every term in the numerator and divide it by h. So in the first term, these h's are going to cancel out. No, let's not do it like that. Let's rewrite it like this so we can see what's going on. So I can break it up like this. Now I make a fraction out of every term in the numerator because that's how fractions work. And now I can see that these h's cancel each other out. This h cancels with this up here, and I get one h on top. And these h's cancel each other out. So now I'm left with 2x plus h plus 2. And that is my difference quotient. So, in order to do problems with the difference quotient, really, the hardest thing you have to do is find this f of x plus h. Once you do that, you just plug it in, subtract your f of x, and remember that this term is always going to cancel out, and then divide everything by h. Now, this step I did right here, you don't have to do if you can see that, okay, well, this h is going to cancel out here, this h is going to reduce here, and this h is going to cancel out here. I just did this for clarity. You don't have to do that once you're an expert. Okay, well, that's all I've got for the difference quotient. If you have any questions, make sure you leave me a comment, like the video, subscribe to my channel, and share with your peeps. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.